Hello and welcome to Knit and Crochet with Joanna. In this tutorial we are going to learn how to crochet this very pretty and easy sweater. The pattern is multiple of 2 and we have to repeat only 4 rounds. The first 3 rounds are only with double crochets and in the 4th round we crochet the pattern. We start with the rounds until we reach the armpits and then we continue in rows. That means we do the front part and the back part separately. My sweater has the size small medium, but you can make it in any size you like. The pattern is multiple of 2, so the best way is you measure your chest or your hip and then you see how many chains you need for your sweater. I did also a small border here at the end of the sleeves, also at the end of the sweater here and on the collar. Let's see how we crochet this really pretty and easy sweater. The yarn that I use today is from Germany. It's a really very nice yarn, very soft yarn. It's like mohair, I think, but you can use of course any yarn you like. The hook size that I used is 3.5 millimeter. I start my sweater with 160 chains and I close these chains now to a circle. I go slowly and very careful to my first chain. I take care that my chains don't twist. And I go to the very first chain. Here, I insert my hook now into the first chain. I grab the yarn and I pull through both chains on the hook. And now I can work in rounds. At first chain 3, we count this as our first double crochet. And now in every chain 1 double crochet. We repeat this now until the end of the round. In every chain 1 double crochet. I am at the end of the round. Here is my last double crochet and I finish the round now with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. Here are my 3 chains. I started with them this round and I count 1, 2, 3. I insert my hook into the 3rd chain and I do a slip stitch. And the first round is complete. Chain 3 and I turn my work. I turn my work because so I will have here a straight line when I finish my rounds. And I continue with double crochets. The 3 chains are my first double crochet, into the next stitch a double crochet, also into the next stitch a double crochet, and I continue with double crochets in every stitch until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. I did all the double crochets and I finished the round again with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. The second round is complete. Chain 3, I turn my work and I start with round number 3. Also in the 3rd round we do double crochets. The chain 3 are my first double crochet, in the next stitch a double crochet, in the next stitch a double crochet, and I continue with double crochets in every stitch. We repeat this until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. I did all my double crochets and I finished the round again with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. And the 3rd round is complete. Chain 3 and I turn my work. In the fourth round now we are going to crochet our pattern, so the double crochets with the puff stitches. We count this chain 3 as the first double crochet, and now I'm going to crochet around the double crochet and I do a puff stitch with 3 yarn overs. The first yarn over, I am under my double crochet or the chain 3, I grab the yarn under the double crochet and I bring the yarn here in the front. I keep now all the loops on my hook. Second yarn over, again under the double crochet, grab the yarn under the double crochet and we bring the yarn here in the front. Third yarn over, again under the double crochet, grab the yarn, bring the yarn under the double crochet to the front. We work around our double crochet. Now grab the yarn and pull through all the loops on the hook. Our first double crochet with the puff stitch is complete. I skip the next stitch and I go to the next one. I do now long double crochets. So at first normal yarn over, I skip the next stitch, I go into the next one, I insert my hook into the stitch, I grab the yarn and I pull through. Now grab the yarn and pull through the first loop, grab the yarn, pull through the next 2 loops, grab the yarn and pull through the last 2 loops. So our double crochet is now longer. And we do a puff stitch with 3 yarn overs. The first yarn over, I insert my hook always into the space in front of the double crochet that I just did. I grab the yarn, I pull through the space and I keep all the loops on my hook. Second yarn over, into the space, grab the yarn, pull through the space. Third yarn over, into the space, grab the yarn, pull through the space. Now grab the yarn and pull through all the loops on the hook. Skip the next stitch, we go into the next one. Again, 1 long double crochet. So grab the yarn through the first loop, grab the yarn through the next 2 loops, grab the yarn through the last 2 loops. And now the puff stitch with 3 yarn overs. The first yarn over, insert the hook into the space, grab the yarn, pull through the space. Second yarn over, into the space, grab the yarn, pull through the space. Third yarn over, into the space, grab the yarn, pull through the space. Grab the yarn and pull through all the loops on the hook. Again, skip the next stitch, into the next one, a long double crochet. And now a puff stitch around the double crochet. First yarn over, insert the hook into the space, grab the yarn, pull through the space. Second yarn over, into the space, grab the yarn, pull through. Third yarn over, into the space, grab the yarn, pull through. Grab the yarn and pull through all the loops on the hook. And we continue now until the end of the round. We skip always 1 stitch into the next one, a long double crochet with a puff stitch. I am at the end of the round. I did all the double crochets with the puff stitches. I skipped the last stitch and I finished the round with a slip stitch. Here is my first double crochet with a puff stitch. The chain 3, we counted the 3 chains as a double crochet and the puff stitch. So if we see here our work, we see the stitches. And here is the stitch from the first puff stitch. I insert my hook now. You see here is the back thread, here the front thread. I insert my hook under the back thread and I do here a slip stitch. And we just completed the 4th pattern round. If you crochet tight, same as I do, it's a little bit maybe difficult in the beginning to find this stitch. Yes? But you will see if you do this 2-3 times, it's really not difficult. So let's start the 4 pattern rounds again. At first chain 3 and I turn my work. The 3 chains, counts as a double crochet, and I go now to the puff stitch. You see, over the puff stitches we have our stitches. Now it's easier to see the stitches. I insert my hook now into the stitch over the puff stitch. I go under both threads and I do a double crochet. Now in the stitch between the puff stitches, a double crochet. I go to the next puff stitch. Over the puff stitch is here the stitch. I go under both threads and I do a double crochet. Into the stitch between the puff stitches, a double crochet. Here is the next puff stitch. Over the puff stitch, the stitch, I do a double crochet. Into the space between the puff stitches, a double crochet. And we continue now until the end of the round. I am at the end of the round. I did between the last two puff stitches my double crochet, and now one more double crochet into the last puff stitch. So I crochet very tight. This is how it looks here. I can't see my stitch. This is the reason why I show you how I finish this now. Maybe you don't crochet tight. If you crochet loose, maybe you can see your stitch. I crochet very tight, I don't see the stitch, and I do my last double crochet with my yarn over. I go under this loose thread from the puff stitch, and here is my stitch over the puff stitch. I hope you can see it. I go under this thread and I do here my double crochet. Maybe it's a little bit complicated the first or the second time, then you will see it's really very easy. And I finish the round with a slip stitch into the third chain. And we just complete our first pattern round. Now chain 3, turn the work, we do the second round with a double crochet, then the third with a double crochet, and then the fourth one, the pattern. Very important is that you don't forget to finish your round and to turn your work. Now we continue with this 4 pattern rounds until we reach the place where we want to create our armholes. I reached the armpits and I did in total 10 times the pattern. So I repeated this 4 pattern rounds 10 times for me. And here I started with the first pattern round. So from now we are going to work in rows, no more in rounds. I'm going to crochet the front part and the back part from the sweater separately. In total I have here 160 stitches. I use 80 stitches for the front part and 80 stitches for the back part. Here is the end of my round. I finished the first pattern round here and I finished the round with a slip stitch here. This is my first double crochet for the next round, and I counted in total 80 double crochets. Here is my marker and I have between the marker and the slip stitch 80 double crochets, and I start to work now in rows. I do normal the pattern. So I start with 3 chains and I count them as my first double crochet. I turn the work and I continue with double crochets. In every stitch 1 double crochet. I do this until I reach my marker, and then I will have here 80 double crochets. I reached my marker. This is the end of the row and I did in every stitch 1 double crochet. Now chain 3. I turn my work and I continue with double crochets. This is the third pattern round or row. In every stitch 1 double crochet until the end of the row. I am at the end of the row. I did the 3rd row with the double crochets, and now we start with the 4th row. This is the row with the pattern with the puff stitches. So at first chain 3, I turn the work, and the 3 chains are my first double crochet. I go into the next stitch and I do here the long double crochet with the puff stitch. So yarn over, I insert my hook into the 2nd stitch, I grab the yarn, pull through, I grab the yarn through the 1st loop, I grab the yarn through the next 2 loops, I grab the yarn through the last 2 loops. Now yarn over, I insert my hook into the space between these 2 double crochets, I grab the yarn and I pull through the space. 2nd yarn over into the space, grab the yarn, pull through the space. 3rd yarn over into the space, grab the yarn, pull through the space. Now grab the yarn and pull through all the loops on the hook. I skip the next stitch and I go to the next one, and also here a long double crochet and a puff stitch with 3 yarn overs. We continue normal with the 4th pattern row. Again, skip the next stitch, in the next one a long double crochet and the puff stitch with 3 yarn overs. And we repeat this until the end of the row. I am here at the end of the row. I did my last long double crochet with a puff stitch. Here is the next stitch and here the 3 chains. So I skip the next stitch and I insert my hook into the 3rd chain, and I do here a normal double crochet. And we just completed the 4 pattern rows. We start again with the 1st row. So chain 3, turn the work, and we do here double crochets. These 3 chains are the first double crochet. I skip now here the small space here between the puff stitch and the 3 chains, and I go to the puff stitch, into the stitch from the puff stitch. Here over this puff stitch is the stitch, into this stitch 1 double crochet, and we continue normal. In the stitch between the puff stitches 1 double crochet, into the stitch over the puff stitch 1 double crochet. In the stitch between the double crochets, between the puff stitches, 1 double crochet. In the stitch over the puff stitches 1 double crochet. And we continue now until the end of the row. This will be the first pattern row. We continue with the 2nd, the 3rd and the 4th. So I continue now with the 4 pattern rows. I'm going to repeat them until I am close to my shoulders. So a few rows less than the shoulders. Before I close my shoulders, or before I connect my shoulders together, I want to create a small collar. I don't know how many times I'm going to repeat now this 4 rows. I'm going to finish this first and then I show you the next step. My sweater is growing up and I did now here 3 times the pattern complete. This will be here the armhole, and I did after the armhole here 1 time the pattern complete, a 2nd time and a 3rd time here, the 4 pattern rows. And I started a new time the pattern here with the first pattern row, the row with the double crochets. What I want to do now is a small collar here. I have in total 80 double crochets. Here is my marker, and this is the middle from this 80 double crochets. On the right side I have 40 double crochets, and on the left side also 40 double crochets. For my shoulder part I have here 22 double crochets. This is enough for my shoulder. So now I'm going to decrease 3 double crochets together, and this is how we make it. Yarn over, I insert my hook into the next stitch, I grab the yarn and I pull through. I grab the yarn, I pull through 2 loops and I keep 2 loops on my hook. Again, yarn over, insert the hook into the next stitch, grab the yarn, pull through. Grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, and we have now 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, insert the hook into the next stitch, grab the yarn, pull through. Grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, and we have now 4 loops on the hook. I grab the yarn and I pull through this 4 loops. And this is my decrease. 3 double crochets together. Chain 3. I turn my work and I start with the 3rd row. I have here now the 2 pattern rows. In the 3rd row we do also double crochets. Here is my decrease from the last row, 3 double crochets together, and here is the stitch over this 3 double crochets. Here. So I go to the next stitch. I insert my hook into the next stitch and I make here a double crochet. And I continue with double crochet in every stitch until the end of the row. In every stitch a double crochet. The 3rd row with the double crochets is complete, and now row number 4. At first chain 3, I turn my work, and in the 4th row we have the row with the long double crochets and the puff stitches. So also here we work normal. Into the next stitch 1 double crochet and a puff stitch with 3 yarn overs around the double crochet. Skip the next stitch and into the next one, again a long double crochet and a puff stitch with 3 yarn overs around the double crochet. And we repeat this until the end of the row. Then we have one more time here the pattern complete, the 4 pattern rows. I will do 1 or 2 more rows with double crochets, so I'll have the length that I need for my shoulder, and then I show you the next step. I don't know how many rows I'm going to crochet. I tell you this when I am finished. Both sides are completed now, and here is my collar. I did, after the 4 pattern rows, another 2 rows with double crochets, and what I did here on the right side I did also on the left side. I started from the left side to the right side. That means I started here the row with the double crochets, and I did the decrease here, the 3 double crochets that I crocheted together, the decrease. So I worked same as I did it here on the right side, from the left to the right. So this is the front side from the sweater. I'm going to finish now also the back side here. The 80 double crochets from the back side here. We don't make increases, we don't make decreases, we work a normal our 4 pattern rows again and again until we reach the height that we need. I did here are the armholes, and after this armholes I did in total 1, 2, 3, 4 times the pattern and the 2 rows with the double crochets. The same I will do now for the big part. So I'll have the same height for both pieces. I'm going to finish now the back part, so 4 times in total the pattern plus 2 extra rows with double crochets, and then I show you the next step how we make the sleeves. The back part from the sweater is now completed, and I want to connect now the shoulders. So I take here both pieces. I insert my hook at first into the loop. And now here is the back part and here the front part. I insert my hook into the third chain from the front part. Here, 1, 2, 3. And into the first stitch from the back part. And I do here 1 single crochet. Now I continue with slip stitches. This is the front part from my sweater, and here are the stitches. We have 1 thread here in the front and 1 thread here in the back. I insert the hook now under the back thread. I take the back part from my sweater here. Here is the next stitch from the back part. 1 thread in the back, 1 thread in the front. Now I insert my hook under the front thread here. I grab the yarn, pull through both loops, and I do a slip stitch. I go to the next stitch from the front part, also here. I insert my hook under the back thread. Here is the back part from the sweater. I insert my hook under the front thread. And I do also here a slip stitch. I go to the next stitch. This is my front part. I insert my hook under the back thread. Here is the back part from the sweater. I insert my hook under the front thread and I do a slip stitch. And I continue until both pieces are connected. I do the same also here on the other side. And when I'm finished with this, I turn my sweater. This here is the wrong side from the sweater. So I turn my work and I will have the front side in front of me. So I'm going to finish this and then we start together the sleeves. Both shoulders are connected now and it looks like this. It's very clear. So now I'm going to start with the sleeve. This is my armhole and I start here with the sleeve. This is the armpit here. I have 1 double crochet here and 1 double crochet here. I'm going to connect now these 2 double crochets. I insert my hook into the double crochet, not in the stitch, into the double crochet. And I do the same here in the second double crochet. I grab the yarn and I pull through both double crochets. Now chain 2. And I continue now with double crochets. I do 1 round with double crochets. I go here into the next stitch, 1 double crochet. Here in the middle chain 1 double crochet. Into the next stitch 1 double crochet. We have only to take care that we don't have too big spaces in between from the double crochets, and we are going to repeat this now until the end of the round. We do 1 round with double crochets. All the way around with double crochets. I am at the end of the round and I want to make now 1 more double crochet to finish the round. And this is how we do this. Here are my double crochets from the round that I just did. Here is the last double crochet over this double crochet, and 1 round less we have another double crochet here. So I'm going to crochet now. Here is my new double crochet. Here is a second one and here a third one. I insert my hook in the stitch from the third double crochet here, but I don't finish my double crochet. So I make my yarn over, I insert my hook into the stitch from the double crochet. I grab the yarn, pull through. I grab the yarn and I pull through 2 loops. I have 2 loops on the hook. Here are the 2 chains. I started with them this round and my first double crochet. I skip the 2 chains and I go into the stitch from the double crochet. I insert my hook into the stitch, I grab the yarn, pull through, and I have now 3 loops on my hook. 1, 2, 3. I go now with a 3rd loop through the first 2. And we just finish the round. I have in total here 68 double crochets for me, plus the 2 chains. I started with these 2 chains, my round. These 2 chains will be always our degrees. We don't count the 2 chains. We will finish every round with a slip stitch into the first double crochet. So I turn my work now and I start the next round. I start again with chain 2. Here are the 2 chains over the double crochet and I go to the next stitch. I do here a double crochet. And I continue with double crochets. In every stitch, 1 double crochet until the end of the round. 1 double crochet in every stitch. I am at the end of the round. I did here my last double crochet and I finished the round now with a slip stitch. Here are the 2 chains. I started with them this round. I skip this 2 chains and I go to the double crochet and I do the slip stitch in the stitch from the double crochet. So this is my next degrees here. I skip always these 2 chains and so I will have 1 double crochet less in the next round. Here are the 2 chains, under them the double crochets. And every time when we skip the 2 chains, we do 1 degrees. You make the degreases until you reach the point where you think that it's enough for you. If you think you don't need your sleeve tighter, you stop with the degreases. That means you don't start the next round with 2 chains, you do this with 3 chains. And you finish your round with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. So you don't have degreases. So I'm going to finish my round now with a slip stitch into the stitch from the double crochet. And I turn my work. So our pattern has 4 rounds. 3 rounds with double crochets and in the 4th round we do the puff stitches. And this is how we work our sleeve until we finish the sleeve. But here now we do only 2 rounds with double crochets, only here. After the next round that we do together, you continue normal with the 4 pattern rounds. I do here only 2 because I want the puff stitches in the front side of my work, not here in the back side. This is the inside. I want them in the front side. And this is how I do here now my 4th round with the puff stitches. I start here normal with chain 3 and I work around the 3 chains. This is my first double crochet, the puff stitch. So yarn over, 2nd yarn over, 3rd yarn over. I grab the yarn and I pull through all the loops on my hook. And I continue normal with the pattern. I skip the next stitch, I go to the next one. I do here a long double crochet and the puff stitch with 3 yarn overs. Again, skip the next stitch, go to the next one, a long double crochet and the puff stitch with 3 yarn overs. Again, skip the next stitch, we go to the next one, a long double crochet, puff stitch with 3 yarn overs. And we continue now until the end of the round. We finish the round with a slip stitch. We turn the work and we start normal with the 4 pattern rounds. 3 rounds with double crochets and the 4th one the pattern. So I continue now for me, and when I finish the sleeve we will make together a small border. My sleeve is almost complete. I did here 3 rounds with double crochets, and now I want to crochet a last round to have a nice border here. Same as I did it here in my second sleeve. And also this is very easy. So I turn it first, my work. And I start with chain 3. And now into the same stitch, a puff stitch with 4 yarn overs. First yarn over, I insert my hook into this first stitch. I grab the yarn, I pull through, and I keep now the loops on the hook. Second yarn over into the same stitch, grab the yarn and pull through. Third yarn over into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through. And the 4th yarn over into the same stitch, grab the yarn and pull through. Grab the yarn, pull through all the loops on the hook except the first one. We have 2 loops on the hook now. Grab the yarn and pull through these 2 loops. Skip the next 2 stitches and into the 3rd, 1 single crochet. And again, chain 3. And into the same stitch, 1 puff stitch with 4 yarn overs. 1 yarn over, insert the hook into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through. The second yarn over into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through. Third yarn over into the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through. 4th yarn over into the same stitch, grab the yarn and pull through. Grab the yarn, pull through all the loops except the first one. Grab the yarn and pull through both loops on the hook. We skip the next 2 stitches and the 3rd one, 1 single crochet. And we repeat this until the end of the round. Again, chain 3 and a puff stitch with 4 yarn overs into the same stitch. First yarn over, the second yarn over, third yarn over, and the 4th yarn over. Grab the yarn, pull through all the loops except the first one. Grab the yarn, pull through both loops on the hook. Skip 2 stitches and the 3rd, 1 single crochet. And we continue to repeat this until the end of the round. We finish the round with a slip stitch into the same stitch where we did our first puff stitch. 1 slip stitch into this first stitch. Both sleeves are completed. We have a nice border here. It matches perfect with the pattern, and I did this border also here in the collar and here at the end of my sweater. I crocheted this with the same way as I did it here with the sleeves. I think it's a really pretty sweater. It's not difficult to make it, and I hope you like it too. I say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe. Until next time. Thank you.